everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on in grad school, I give it to you for free on Financipation. I also want to give a shout out to Killer Solutions. They're one of my sponsors. If you need digital marketing, website development, or someone to essentially edit your YouTube videos, they're the best in the business of meeting all of your digital needs, okay? Please hit that notification button so you know when I drop new content. So in this particular podcast, everybody, we're going to talk about 15 signs of a low value couple. And the reason why I want to talk about this is for a very simple reason. Do you realize the individual that you marry and or you decide to spend the rest of your life with literally is the most important financial decisions that you make? Fellas, if you plant your seed in contaminated soil, you are literally cutting off 50% of the money that you're going to make for probably the top 20 years of your highest earning potential period of your life. Ladies, if you marry the wrong man, you are literally cursing yourself to some extent, or if you get pregnant by the wrong man, to essentially live a life that is extremely hard. So with that, everybody, let's get started. We're gonna talk about signs of a low value couple. So the first sign of a low value couple is they don't understand the importance of working together, and they are essentially a very poor collection of individuals. One of the members of a low value couple is typically abusive and purposely hurts the other. And ladies, abuse is a two-way street. In other words, yes, there are low value couples of women that are verbally and physically abusing their husbands or their boyfriends as well. And in these low value type relationships, one of the members of these low value couples is typically verbally, mentally, physically, financially, or yes, sexually abusive to their partner every chance that they get. So the first sign of a low value couple is that one or both of the partners is essentially abusive to each other so they can maintain their power. Next. The next sign of a low value couple is that they're either not having a lot of sex or they think that quote unquote good sex is all that they need to essentially make it work. Now this is one of those things that a lot of times I find women to some extent struggle with a lot more than men, where they think that just because they're pretty or just because they quote unquote give it to the guy and it's extremely good, then he's going to love her and never leave. And it does not quite work that way. If you don't believe it, take a look at the Jennifer Lopez's of the world. Take a look at essentially OnlyFans models that get married. Take a look at essentially female adult stars that get married who are most likely are extremely good at what they do. I'll leave it at that. But for whatever reason, they can't keep a man. And ladies, it's simple. Because at the end of the day, sex for us men is a need. But if at the end of the day, if you're not respecting him, if he doesn't trust you, if you're not essentially wife material, eventually, no matter how quote unquote good that you are, that guy's gonna get up and go. So the next sign of a low value couple is that they're essentially either not having sex or they make the mistake of thinking that quote unquote good sex is all it's gonna take to essentially keep them. Before I go any further, please hit the like button, please share, please subscribe, as I'm giving you essentially an MBA level worth of investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. Next, the next sign of a low value couple is that they are unhealthy, they are out of shape, and they don't care much for their physical appearance and or for staying in shape for themselves and for their partner. So this is one of those things that delves directly into finances, because at the end of the day, everybody, health legitimately is wealth. And yes, this is a financial channel. And one of the things that is sad to me is when I meet an individual who was destined for greatness. They essentially had the financial pedigree, they had the academic pedigree, they had the work ethic, they had the intelligence, they even had the desire, but they died prematurely because they did not take care of their bodies. But guess what? Let's say you're 350 pounds and you die of a heart attack prematurely at 50 years old. Then guess what? You just cost your family $1.5 million because you died 15 years prematurely. Take care of your bodies, everybody, because at the end of the day, another surefire sign of a low value couple is they don't take care of their bodies, they die prematurely, and they essentially leave their children and their partners out in these streets without them being there because they did not take the time to physically take care of themselves. Next, the next sign of a low value couple is that they are selfish and they think that they're stronger as individuals instead of being stronger together as a team. So this is one of those things, once again, it kind of gets back to what I was talking about earlier. If you're dating a girl who says she's a strong independent this and she's a strong independent woman that, to some extent, you need to seriously sit back and kind of evaluate that, because at the end of the day, anybody is stronger when they're working with another human being that's going in the same direction as them. It's an old African proverb. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with other people. Relationships, everybody, are the exact same way. Two people that are essentially working in tandem can accomplish almost anything, but one person working by themselves eventually is going to burn out. And if you are dating a person or you're with an individual who is selfish with their time and they think that they're stronger without you, then guess what? You're dating the wrong person, and get out of there. The next sign of a low value couple is that they are selfish, and they think they honestly, truly believe that they are stronger individually than working with someone else as a team and growing old with them. Next. The next sign of a low value couple is they don't have any kind of financial goals. They rarely talk about money, and then they wonder how they end up broke. So full disclosure, this is a financial channel. And one of the things that blows my mind is that when people, quote unquote, get married, or they're in a quote unquote committed monogamous relationship with somebody, and they never want to talk finances. Now I understand there is a community in the finance world that says you should never talk finance with your partner, and that you should always have separate accounts and never joint accounts. And I'm not going to delve into my personal thoughts on that in this particular podcast. But what I will say is this: if you are dating an individual and you're serious with them, and they never want to have a legitimate financial conversation about when they want to retire early, or what their investment strategy is, or what they think about crypto, or what they think about index fund investing, what they think about the stock market, what they think about being an entrepreneur, and they're constantly dodging the question of their ideas on finance, they're either financially illiterate or they're trying to hide something from you. Money makes up 50% of divorces in America. So at the end of the day, if you are linking yourself to an individual who flat out refuses to have financial conversations with you, and you can tell it's a sore spot with them, my advice is simple: run. The next sign of a low value couple is, once again, they set no financial goals with each other. They rarely talk about money. They're going in two divergent paths about how they spend their money, and they typically end up mad and angry and broke, and they point to each other. Next. The next sign of a low value couple is that they treat relationships like they are 50-50 or 30-70, when in reality, it should be 100-100. Relationships, everybody, are one of the hardest things on earth, because when it boils down to it, people are crazy. And guess what? If you listen to this, you're probably one of the craziest people that's out there. Why? Because at the end of the day, you honestly, truly believe that you can retire early and build generational wealth for yourself and for your grandkids. Whereas in America, the average person cannot even afford a $1,000 emergency. So, studies show that relationships essentially fail for two reasons. One is because of quote unquote bad sex, and two is because of financial issues. So if you are in a relationship and you're not willing to do 100% of the things to make that thing work, and you're into this 50-50 thing, that means as soon as a relationship essentially starts to have some level of trouble, you're out the door. People that do 50-50, they refuse to get up and put their baby back to sleep when the other partner's tired. People that do 50-50, they withhold sex from their partner because they didn't get a pair of shoes or a pair of heels, or they didn't get the new Jordan jumpsuit or a new PlayStation. In its truest sense of the word, when people go 50-50 in relationships and they're not willing to do 100% of the things to please their partner, to me, that is selfish. And those are the kind of relationships that typically do not last. So the next sign of a low value couple is they believe in 50-50, and that is one reason why they typically do not go very far. Next. The next sign of a low value couple is that they rarely talk and they have very poor communication skills. So this is one of those things where when they talk, they always are arguing or screaming at each other. Or when they talk, they basically have very surface level conversations, never talk about anything truly deep. I have found that generally speaking, low value couples, they kind of skirt around the issues. They refuse to talk about the things that are difficult, and they refuse to have difficult conversations. So as a result, when the relationships gets hard, one of the partners is already mentally checked out. Why? Because people that don't want to deal with, that don't want to have difficult conversations, typically are not in it for the long haul when things get tough. And if you are in a relationship, then guess what? Things are going to get tough. Things are going to stink. People are going to get sick. People are going to have surgery. Babies are going to be born. People are going to die. And it's not going to be a bed of roses, okay? So the next sign of a low value couple is that they typically have very poor communication skills, and they very rarely talk about the difficult subjects. Next. The next sign of a low value couple is that they tear each other down and they actively sabotage each other's growth. This to me is also one of the saddest things that I see. It's like that guy who essentially is mad because his woman is starting to make more money than him, so he tears her down or tells her, you need to stop working this job, you need to stay at home, because he's such an inferior man that he believes that tearing his girl down, tearing his wife down so she makes less money than him, that makes him feel like a man. Or this is that woman that's constantly tearing down the guy that she's with because she's terrified that if he actually loses the weight, if he actually gets that degree, if he actually learns that trade, he's going to surpass her, and other women that are prettier and that have nicer bodies, essentially that are better human beings, are going to essentially steal that man from her. I've seen both sides of the gamut, everybody, and you do not want to be involved in a relationship where that kind of crap is happening. The next sign of a low value couple is that they are constantly tearing each other down, or they constantly want to keep each other here because they know if they go there, they may lose them. Next, the next sign of a low value couple is that they have literally no respect for their partners. They are constantly cheating on them, constantly having multiple flings, constantly bringing diseases and other things into the relationship, and they're constantly bringing shame to the family. Because at the end of the day, everybody, divorce and alimony is extremely expensive. Ladies and gentlemen, if you get a divorce, it instantly causes you to lose 50% of your net worth. And typically, because most people are married between the ages of 20 to 50, that means you're going to lose that 50% during the prime income earning years of your life. And if you are the one doing the cheating, it simply is not worth it. As no woman's body parts, I'll say it that way, is worth you losing millions of dollars over the course of your lifetime. And it's also not worth you looking at your kids and them saying, why did you do that to mommy? Ladies, no man's anatomy is worth you essentially losing your reputation and also losing 50% of your salary as well. Because the same thing happens. Alimony and divorce, it goes both ways. And if you are the woman that never wants to marry and you simply have flings and men on the side, it looks real good. But eventually, when you get to like your 30s or your 40s, you're gonna start realizing that the dating pool is extremely challenging, because it's very hard essentially for a 50-year-old woman to compete against 20-year-old women for 30-year-old men. Fellas, if you were the kind of guy that's out here quote unquote smashing everything that you possibly can, yeah, it's really fun and it looks really cool and everything. But when you turn 60 or 65 and your body starts breaking down, nothing is sadder than seeing a man essentially dying alone by himself in the hospital with a bunch of baby mamas and a bunch of kids that hate him. Lastly, I'm saying this for my individuals who were quote unquote good people. They were good husbands, they were good spouses, they were good partners, they were good wives, and they were with the wrong individual and that person ended up cheating on or they left them. And you still got 50% of your assets taken. From my experience of seeing these, the kids eventually at some point they grow up and they become adults and they have adult conversations with their parents and say, why did you do this to mom? Why did you do this to dad? And what ends up happening is that, typically speaking, the grieved party, the one that got cheated on, they eventually end up finding someone else, moving on with their lives, and they start another family, and or they get a lot of that money back. Whereas the person that did the cheating, a lot of times, they're the ones that ends up buying a dog and dying alone. Next, the last sign of a low value couple is that they typically produce low value children. This one to me is the saddest of all, because at the end of the day, I'm going to tread very lightly on this one, because as adults, we can pick and choose who we sleep with, and we can pick and choose who we decide to have children with. Whereas kids cannot pick and choose their parents. They can't pick and choose where they grow up. They can't pick and choose what schools they go to, and they can't pick and choose the environments that they grow up in. But one of the things I have sadly noticed among low-value couples is that they generally produce generational curses that seem to jump from generation to generation until an extraordinary person breaks that curse. And we've all seen it before, everybody, where the mommy and the daddy are alcoholics and the kids become alcoholics, where the mom grew up in an abusive home, so her daughter marries an abusive man just like the baby's father was. Or the guy's used to basically dating women that have serious issues, so he wants to try to fix them, so he always goes after women that have serious issues. The apple Sally, in a lot of ways, does not fall very far from the tree. And children will eventually, for the most part, be what they see. That's why as parents, it is so crucially important that we surround our kids with positive examples of feminism and masculinity. And as a guy who's been married for 5 years with 2 kids, I'm telling you right now, your babies are literally looking up to you. Those kids need you. And the next sign of a low value couple is that they typically produce low value kids. Before I leave, I want you to check my podcast on signs of a high value couple. It's probably gonna pop up about right here. And this channel, everybody, is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, you can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. I'm not giving you financial advice on this channel. You just make responsible decisions based on the thorough, independent research that you do for yourself. Also, please check out my website, www.therealfinancipation.com. My Instagram is thereal_financipation, and my Spotify is Financipation. Additionally, my TikTok is Financipation, and my Facebook page is Financipation. And check out my blog, Financipation. Check out some of my digital e-products, which is my scholarship book, okay? Please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe. And it's your boy, Chris. I'm out. Peace. Peace.